On episode 68 of Chit Chat, we talk with the man who took us all to Mars and so many other places. He's set his sights on warmer climates now, but he'll always be in our hearts. It's Stephen Buonocore, and we're going to talk with him about board games, beer, retirement, and more.
Welcome back to Chit Chat.
Yes, this is Chit Chat episode 68, and as you can see, we're missing one regular component, but he's been upgraded significantly. We've got Kira, Ryan, and myself here, but we've also, as you saw in the intro, we've got the man, the myth, the legend. We've got Stephen Buonocore of Stronghold Games. If you hadn't heard yet, the man is retiring. He's going to be sorely missed. But Stephen, welcome to your first Chit Chat, right? This is probably the pinnacle of your career, right? Being on Chit Chat with us.
It's the ultimate thing I've done in the gaming industry is to be on Chit Chat with yous guys.
Wait, you did say Chit Chat, right?
I said Chit Chat.
Okay, I'm not just making sure. Everyone, he just did come off his own happy hour that he holds every Thursday. True. So he might be slurring his words a little bit after a glass of wine or two.
Ahem. I had one glass of wine before this, and here's glass number 2 that just got poured for me. Cheers.
I'm having a little cheers, a little taxman exemption in your honor, sir.
Listen, I wasn't prepared. Jeremy had some technical difficulties. I'm actually on vacation right now in Austin, Texas, where it's like 90 degrees. So if things look a little different here, now you know why.
Looks a little like it looks like you're schwitzing, you're like a little moist there. You're schwitzing.
I should have taken the time to get a bottle of wine out though. That's
a bottle.
A bottle.
It takes a bottle for Ryan.
Oh, so if you don't mind, just since you mentioned happy hour,
yes.
It's going to be going on for a long time, and I want to tell people what it is. So
yes,
I do. It's what's called Happy Hour at the Stronghold every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern and every Sunday afternoon, evening at 4 p.m. Eastern. And all it is we talk and we're positive. I started this with now 31 episodes.
Nice.
The session's in.
Wow.
So we do it twice a week. And I just started this when we all became quarantined because a lot of people are alone and they literally have nobody. A lot of people show up alone. Now, even though things are opening up, there's still a lot of, we can't go to conventions, we can't do a lot of things. People get together twice a week. Sometimes the Europeans come only on Sunday, and we just talk positive stuff. And if you'd like, we share a glass of wine or beer or whatever. And it's just a little fun hour of positivity. So if you want to join, if you're a friend of mine or you follow me on Facebook, you can see the event that gets posted with the link to the Zoom thing, and it's Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern. So,
and if you don't follow him, what are you doing? Follow him now.
Right?
Follow me on.
Everyone is welcome. Now, before we move on, because I do want to talk about what Stephen just said, but before we do that, Kira, do we have a winner from last week?
We do. Last week we gave away the Search for Planet X from Foxtrot and Renegade, right? That's the U.S.
Renegade.
Publisher of it. So the winner is Greg Duet. Congratulations, Greg. Just email us at manversusmeeple@gmail.com and we will get that shipped right out to you. And today, I did not ask Stephen's permission. I just decided. Ooh.
Oh boy.
For those of you that don't know. For those of you that don't know.
It's already happening, Stephen.
For those of you that don't know, Stephen, I do, in my day job outside of Man vs. Meeple, I do marketing for some publishers, and one of those is Stronghold Games. And so I decided what we were giving away today.
We have a relationship.
We're friends.
A relationship. A very good professional relationship. And she is essentially the marketing director, we call it, marketing consultant for indie game studios, Stronghold Games, Indie Boards and Cards. And Kira, you're always allowed to give away a cool prize from the catalog.
So are we giving away Stephen?
So we're giving away Stephen today. No, actually what we're giving away today is a game that's going to be coming out at Gen Con, if you will, because everything's got to be online,
during that time.
Right? And that is Diffie Dice, which is a game that we all saw before it got here. It's super fun, and it was. If you want to know what it is, it's Gone and Con. I don't have the physical copy here yet. I was hoping it would get here by today, but it didn't. So I can't hold it up and show it to you. But it is going to be here in the next few days. So we'll be able to, I'll be able to ship it out on the next Chit Chat. No worries. So it's a wonderful roll and write. Steven, you want to talk about the game a little bit?
It's a wonderful roll and write game. It's the 7th or 8th in our series of roll and writes, where you're rolling and you're drafting cards to create a tableau in front of you to take the actions on those cards, and you need the dice to activate those actions on the cards. Okay. A bigger version, like a kind of a heavier, but not heavy, of course, a heavier roll and write. So not like the lighter ones like Bricks and Dizzle, but more of the that's pretty clever, double as clever, but this has more things in it, right? You got all these cards that are going on that you can manipulate, and people are doing a different set of cards and actions on their side. So you kind of got to watch what you activate so they don't get benefits from what you do and things like that. Very cool. I mean, it's a gamer's roll and write. That's for sure.
It absolutely is. Yeah. Enjoyed it so much. We showed it to some folks at IndieCon.
Jeremy that's I just remembered that it was in IndieCon.
So Gun and Cunnin is the original.
Gunnen. I don't know. It's German.
But if you look up Divi Dice, that's DIVVY Dice on BGG, you will find it there, and you'll see some pictures of it. It is a wonderful game. I really like it, and I'm excited for you guys all to check it out when it comes out. But for one lucky winner, you will get it today. So with that, David, I will hand it back to you.
Well, before we get started, I want to jump in. Because my brother-in-law is watching from the other room, and he rescued me, tossed me a beer. So now I can join you. This is something local Austin brewery.
Nice.
So
nice.
Oh,
cheers,
nice.
Cheers,
so what's everybody drinking? What's everybody drinking?
I have an Argentinian Malbec right now.
Oh my gosh, yours is the fanciest.
Zucardi. It's not the greatest vineyard on the planet, but it's certainly a decent one.
Very nice.
One of the things I've been doing during this whole pandemic is I've been doing wine classes online too. So and I've been supporting a local wine shop by doing so, because I buy the wines from them and then they do the classes and things like that. So it's been kind of cool to do that. So Zucardi Cabernet Franc.
Ooh,
that's Cabernet Franc, not Malbec.
I have a prediction. Now that you're retired, are we seeing Stronghold Winery in the future?
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
You will neither see Stronghold Winery nor Stronghold Brewery. I'm mostly known for drinking lots of good craft beers. Too much work. Retirement means relaxing. It means enjoying myself. So I'll just drink a lot of great wines and beers and scotches, but not make them. Thank you.
Can you even do vineyards in Florida?
No.
I was going to say, that's why he said wine shop.
No. This is not a grape growing region. No. This is a grape dying region. No, this is not the right climate.
And while what we promise everyone at home, we will be talking about board games at some point or another. But since we're all drinking, I do want to mention, I already said it's taxman exemption. I wish I was drinking more along the lines of something like a 1960 Buonocore. 1960, that's right? 1961, okay.
I don't know how to take this.
Maybe 60 years old instead of only 59 years old.
Yeah.
This went off the rails so fast.
No, this is already going to my head. As some of you who know me know, I'm not a big drinker, and this one is 8.5 alcohol by volume. Oh, wow. And I am so thirsty that I've just downed this thing. So the show could go off the rails. We'll just happen to see. Ryan, what are you drinking? And then we'll get into some conversation.
So this is the Hopadillo. It's from this local Texas brewery that I've never heard of because I'm not from Texas. But since it's 90 degrees here all the time, no wonder they're drinking beer all the time. Man, it is so hot. This feels so refreshing right now.
Is it pretty sour?
It's an IPA, which I normally don't like, but this one's pretty good. Also, again, 90 degrees, and it's been 90 degrees all week.
Well, just so you know, up here in Indiana, it is 94 degrees today. So it's pretty out. What's the weather down there like in retirement land?
Thank you very much again for the smacking me. It was 93, a high of 93. So people say Florida is so hot. Yeah, it certainly is warm out, but it's no worse than a lot of places that you guys are in during
Sure.
the summer.
Sure.
So it was 93 a high today with decent humidity, like 70% humidity. So it's humid.
So little did everyone know when they tuned into Chit Chat tonight, they were going to get some wine and beer reviews, as well as the local weather in 3 different states.
I put happy hour in the description, so there should be no mistake.
I mean, we are ratcheting up the standards here on Chit Chat, but we are going to talk about board games. But more importantly, we're going to talk to Steven. Steven, we've got some questions. We didn't tell you any questions we were going to ask you.
Did not.
We don't want to put you on the spot. I mean, we
Yes,
did
you do.
tell. We do. We did ask him before we started recording. We wanted to ask him all the juicy, gossipy details about the industry that he might be aware of. I won't tell you what he said, but I can tell you he's not going to say any of it on camera. So we will try to ask him some questions that he might answer. And I will start. And Kira and Ryan, hopefully you can sort of get some questions in the chamber while we do this.
I got the grill turning on.
I will grab questions from the comments because that's more fun.
Yeah, and some of those comments, hopefully Alicia, my wife, who's generally in the comments, will ask.
As is
she
Paula.
is the beer aficionado of this household, so I'm pretty sure she'll ask some questions of you because you are kind of a beer expert, right? And that's I want to talk about that because you've held something at Gen Con at some of the conventions where you get everyone together, and I think beer has been involved at times, but also some of your games. How long have you been doing those sorts of things? Because I want to wrap the show up talking about what you mean to the convention scene. So a lot of my questions are going to revolve around that.
Okay. Well, no, the thing about me and beer is that well before there was a Stronghold Games, there was Buonocore doing other fun things in his life. And one of the things I did in the 90s mostly was I used to brew my own beer. It was kind of fun.
You're ahead of your time.
But I also used to judge beer. I'm a certified beer judge, and that's a serious thing. I mean, you actually go out to competitions, homebrewing competitions, though you can also be invited if you're a high enough level to go to the Great American or Great British Beer Festivals, which are the 2 biggest ones in the world, to judge beer. But I did it locally in the New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania area. You go and you judge beer. I became a certified judge. You kind of go up in the ranks from recognized to certified. And I have friends of mine who stayed in the thing. I stopped because like getting drunk like on a Saturday afternoon was just not a good idea, at some point. I had friends of mine who went and became master judges, and they're the ones who kind of get invited to those real ridiculous national and worldwide. Sewer, I guess you can say, craft beers. I've retained all that knowledge and certainly my love of beer, but I don't do the brewing and I don't do the judging anymore. It's a lot of work. It's actually a lot of work to do that.
So my board game question is this, and I don't want to boil your career down to this game, but I will say, as excellent as the Stronghold brand has been over the years, there is probably one game that most people have in their household. In fact, I would almost bank on everyone who's watching this currently has either played or owns Terraforming Mars.
A copy of Space Sheep, you're going to say. Space Sheep.
Yes.
Terraforming Mars did that one too. Yes.
When I was formulating the question, it was either Space Sheep or Terraforming Mars, but I went with Terraforming Mars. Okay. I want to know a little bit of the story behind where you first saw that, what led to you signing it.
Yeah, the story is actually relatively long, but I'll bring it in. In 2014, I met with Fricks Games via my relationship with Ludofact Germany. Frank Yeager is the export manager there, and he said, Steven, you're doing a lot of space games. These guys have got a space game. Why don't you go talk to them? It's about Mars. I'm like, I'm also a space, current science space nerd as well.
Oh.
I'm like, yeah, Mars. Okay, it's kind of contemporary almost, and that's kind of cool. Met with them, loved the concept of the game, but realized that it needed development. They were essentially a brand new company, a first-time designer. They had some very unknown games before that, a couple, like 2. And we then spent a year developing the game with them. I assigned a good friend of mine, didn't work for me, but like did some work for me, Jeff Gamble, who has his own podcast, the Longview Podcast, for a while. And he worked a lot with them to take that game from being a good game to just being a great game. And, literally for a first-time designer, Jacob Frixelius, to have come up with that idea and the way that game works, it just needed a little bit extra to make those mechanics work, to create that engine in a slightly different way. And in the end, it just all worked out great. And we premiered that game at Gen basically in 2016, and it sort of history from then.
Yeah. Do you happen to remember some of the photos that we tweeted, I think, during that time frame? Because that was one of the first games you printed here in Indiana, right?
That was the first game that LudoFact USA printed at their shop in Indiana, in Lafayette, Indiana.
In Lafayette. I'm up there every other weekend. That's where Alicia lives. We have an interesting living arrangement. But when I'm up there in 2016, I actually went over to their facility and took a picture of myself, and then we photoshopped a picture of Terraforming Mars in my hands. And I remember Jeremy said that you contacted him and said, "What are you guys doing?"
I remember that.
So here's a great story that I don't even know that I told you guys, but that picture went onto Twitter and went onto your social media, and I got a call from a very angry competitor of yours.
No, there's no
name
competitor.
I will not mention. Saying,
won't mention Tom's name.
How did you give them a game before I got a game? What is that? Why did you do that? And I'm like, dude, chillax. 2, they photoshopped it. I didn't do anything.
Oh, he played a mean joke.
I'm going to go on the record right now. Tom, we did not Photoshop that. He gave it to us first.
I didn't mention
He did tell us.
Tom's name, and I definitely did not give you that game. But that was amazing. You guys did that. I got an irate call about why did I not. Yeah, okay.
We were really proud of that photo. I happened to, you have no idea. There was a fair amount of effort of tracking down the address of the actual LudoFact. It happened to be just across the street from where Alicia worked at the time. So I went over there on my way out of town and took a quick picture of me as though I was holding a box, and
nice.
It worked out nicely. Anyway, it was a fantastic 2016. It was a fantastic Gen Con. I remember everyone anticipating that. And I can't imagine. I mean, I knew you had a sense that it was going to be a big deal. Everyone was anticipating it for that Gen Con. But I can't imagine you had any idea that it would end up being what it has become.
Not even close. At the time, I took the largest bet, print run size. That's when you make a bet, right? You bet it. You're going to print X number of games that I had made to date, but it wasn't that big of a bet. It wasn't like if that wouldn't have worked, and we've only sold half, it would have sunk the company. It was substantial. It was the largest print run I've done for any individual game, and the demand was twice that. The next print run, I did that twice that number. The demand for the second print run was twice that. Wow. I finally, on the third print run, printed the twice that, and we then were able to get a data point to figure out what the demand was going to be for this game. So if you think about it, we did X, then we did 2X, and then we did 4X. And that number finally put us in a range where, okay, that print run didn't like immediately get sold out. We were able to now plan the next one and plan the next one. Mm-hmm. It's been obviously a ridiculously phenomenal success.
That's really
company,
great.
And it's set us all up. It set Stronghold Games up for the merger with Indie Boards and Cards and the history that we are in right now.
That is awesome. The one last question on that, and then I'll give Kira and Ryan a chance.
I've got the next one.
So if you don't mind me asking, and if you do, that's fine too. Biggest bet, but since then, do you have any sense for how many reprints you've done of that game?
I don't know off the top of my head.
A couple a year, right?
I mean, I gotta yes.
Yeah. It's got to be north. It's got to be north of 10, right? 10 to 15
Easily.
reprints on that.
Yeah. I will say this, but it's not that specific. We're well over 100,000 units, but we're short of a million units. Okay, so we're
somewhere in that window.
Wow. Somewhere.
I mean, at least that's a factor, right? I'm not well over 100, short of a million. I guess maybe when we do 1 million units, something big will happen. And that's, by the way, that's English, right? We only do English.
Oh, wow.
The rest of the partners, and now there's 20. There's 20 other languages. Maybe, is it 20? 19, 20? Wow. Whatever. 20 other languages, and theirs is about the same. Actually, it's a little lower than ours in total. English is the Cadillac language.
That is awesome. And the cherry on top, of course, was this recent Kickstarter you guys ran with the big box to hold it all, right?
Yes.
That really was sort of honestly, kind of a great bookend for you kind of announcing your retirement and having that sort of like cherry on the top of the terraforming cake, if you will.
Yeah, I like to say it's like my magnum opus. It was the end of the thing. And by the way, I give credit where credit is due all the time. My contribution to that was that sounds great. That's what I did.
Good job.
Can we do this? Wow. And looking at approving things and saying, well, what can we do it this way? But literally, I'm going to, again, go back to Kira. She did an unbelievable job at the marketing of it and the creation of the Kickstarter page and all. And the team, which, Travis out in California and the team that we have in Indianapolis, Nick and Sydney and Anna. I mean, I'm leaving the company.
And Trisha, don't forget Trisha. She does all the customer service on the Kickstarter. She's who you guys are talking to a lot of the time.
Trisha is a saint because I would
oh my gosh, she absolutely is.
I mean, patiently answering all of the comments and the emails, but everybody did just an amazing job on the project, and I'm leaving the company in such great hands as I relax a little bit more and actually do the operations and running of the company. But it was a Kickstarter that none of us thought would actually do that. In fact, Kira now owes me a lot of beers because
I was short.
Nice.
I took the under.
Our bet at first was going to be over 1.2 million, but I said, you know what? It seems like the buzz is really good. I'll give you 1.5. I still took the over. So she kind of owes me
I was doing math against Turmoil Kickstarter and COVID and stuff.
I found
bad math on my part, y'all.
She's generally conservative when it comes to that stuff, which makes some sense. Kira, what is your question for the man?
In the comments named Man versus Meeple Salinas. He wants to
Who's
know.
That?
I don't know.
He figured out how to use the internet.
No comment.
He wants to know, and I love this question, so I definitely want to make sure it gets asked. In all of your years publishing games, what was the one single game or games that got away that you weren't able to sign?
Oh, I know the answer to this one, actually.
Was it Yahtzee?
Why don't you answer? Because I don't actually know the answer. Maybe you.
Don't have Ryan answer it.
I know what you told me. That's all I know.
Oh, well, I'm not BSing here. Because I always say I really sure something might have gotten away or not, but
I'm just gonna get mad. It's just gonna bring back terrible memories.
Is it bad memory?
It wasn't Catan, right?
No, it wasn't Catan.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I remember when it happened. I remember there may have been a little bit of upsetness over losing or not getting Underwater Cities.
Oh yeah, that was that was
Oh.
one of those. That was one of those things like you send the email in and they say no. It was already gone. So that wasn't one of those things where like I lost it, like I wasn't at the right time. It was just like no, that sure, love to have it, great game.
Great game. Not the biggest fish though.
No, definitely not. Having maybe having done this under my catalog, Merchant of Venus versus Fantasy Flight, that was a big kerfuffle that happened. So that could be it, but I ended up with a great relationship with Christian Peterson after that, so we worked that out. It was great. There was I was supposed to have the license for Nemesis.
Awaken Realms.
Nemesis?
Yeah.
Nemesis?
Supposed to have that. But due to Kira's like, what? She doesn't know this either. Due to the designer took back the rights from Rebel Games. Rebel had it.
Yeah.
And Rebel was going to use us as their, English language American
I see.
and put us in. But the designer was not
Sure.
forthcoming and pleasant with them. So they ended up losing the rights. Somehow it went to Awaken Realms, who paid them an ungodly amount of money or something like that.
We are getting a little dish here.
I will
like
say,
this.
Yeah, I know. This is industry gossip.
No offense to Stronghold or Rebel, Awaken Realms killed that game. It is gorgeous.
Yeah. I know.
Gorgeous. And I would expect no less from them. So it ended up in good hands regardless. I'm sorry you didn't get it, but I'm not disappointed that Awaken Realms got it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing that's going to happen. Steven, I think you'd agree, right? A good game is generally going to find a good home. Would you agree with that?
I think that some good games don't find good homes, actually. Yeah. I mean, that they end up with publishers that won't do them justice for the short or long term. But that one certainly ended up in the perfect hands.
We don't need to name names.
I bet you're not going to name names, though, are you?
People in the comments will name names. I'm sure.
Yeah, that's sure.
Actually, I missed it. Did I go over my head?
No, I said, are you going to name names? Games that
I'm not going to name names. No, I don't badmouth people ever.
You've said enough. No, and that's one of the things I wanted to mention. You are like
strengths.
You are literally one of the most positive people, not just in the game industry, but you are literally one of the most positive people I've ever met. If you've ever, whether you're kind of in the industry or just a hobbyist and a fan, if you've ever been to a convention and you've been by the Stronghold booth, Steven is the happiest guy. He comes right up to you and he's on like 100% of the time. And it's, and sorry for saying this, Steven. At first you might think, who is this guy coming on pretty strong? But it's him. It's genuinely him. It's not any sort of BS character. It's like Steven Buonocore, which we appreciate you being, as part of the industry as long as you have.
So I have two things on that, and then I'm going to use just kind of like you did with Terraforming Mars. I'm just going to do a follow-up that seems like a good one right after this question. But one, if you'd seen all of the comments that came in on the press release announcements and stuff, like so many people had exactly that to say, David, where they were like, "Oh, Steven at the conventions is so great," and blah blah blah. I mean, sure.
It was really, really, really humbling. The whole thing. I mean, the whole response to the press release in my Facebook feed. I answered every one of the comments that came into that Facebook feed. If somebody said congratulations, I would say thank you, John. But if somebody says, dude, that's wonderful, congratulations, I can't wait to see you again, blah, blah, I would actually write, thank you, Mary, and I definitely will see you at the convention. I literally answered every one of those several hundred comments. But I mean, it's so wonderful and humbling to see that maybe I have actually made an impact on some people's lives. And
absolutely,
it's a nice legacy to kind of leave.
You absolutely
Yes.
have, and I know you're beautifully humble, but you deserve all the accolades you've been given. I can't imagine there being another person in the near future or the distant future who's going to have a cutout of themselves where people are wanting to try to take pictures with the cutout.
Oh, that
of
travels.
Stephen
It just
Buonocore.
goes where he
Yeah.
doesn't even.
Where-
He
it
was
just
like
goes,
Flat Stanley.
He has his
Where
own
did that cutout
travel
end up?
agent and everything. Well, so to follow
Somebody-
up on that, the second thing I wanted to say before we get to the follow-up question is that to that point, absolutely you made an impact on one special lady in our comments, and that lady is David's wife, who says,
Wait, what?
Stephen is the best and excellent fashion sense too.
Oh.
So there you go.
This my camouflage Stronghold shirt. I normally come on like these kind of things in the full Stronghold, polo shirt regalia. But hey, I'm more relaxed now. I'm Buonocore retired.
This is
sort of.
He's
retired,
hiding.
Stephen.
So I'm hiding with the Stronghold.
So that follow-up question, so that Ryan can get to his question, just because I do think this is great and it's a good follow-up to the one that got away, is what is your favorite one that you've published that's not Terraforming Mars? And just to say this, Jeremy says his is Village, and no, I'm not mentioning Great Western Trail, although I just did.
You did. Which no, I would not have been. That would not have been the answer anyway, because Great Western Trail is a very heavy Euro, and it's normally not the kind of thing that I play. It's a great game. It's a great game.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not owned by a great company now, but it's a great game. Really, it is.
Shots fired.
Shots fired. So to the point, what is your favorite game?
You know what? You are handling it like a class act, my friend. Keep going.
I love this.
In my catalog, I have a number of like favorites. The stuff that like I love, that I want to play a lot, and that would include Flamme Rouge.
Yeah.
I love. I pull that out for like non-gamers, like my brother who loves to gamble. He's a gambler, and he sees those bikes going. And he's like, "I'm gonna smoke you, and I'm gonna eat you. I'll bet you 3-1 that I'm gonna." So it's not a gambling game. It's a racing game. It's the best racing game on the market, regardless of the fact that it has to do with bicycles, which is not an American thing really, but it's just the best racing game on the market, where you've got a team of racers and you're trying to get one of them across the finish line first, and you'll get synergies between them and between the other riders that are in the packs, in the pelotons on the track. Well, that's my favorite. Like,
I was gonna say, just to jump in, I wanted to say that you've got people going. You've got to check out the comments after the stream, Stephen, because people are throwing up their favorites as well and their experiences with you. It's really nice. I wish I could read them all.
What?
But I saw Our Family Plays Games. Again, I'm so happy you guys are here. Thank you for tuning in. If you guys do not know about Our Family Plays Games yet, they are an upcoming YouTube channel. They were just on Good Morning America. They are just a great source of information for great family games. Please check them out. And they just said their favorite is Survive.
Oh yeah.
That is the quintessential like game to buy for your family. Absolutely. So Our Family Plays Games. I love you guys. Thank you for bringing that one up. My other game that I wanted to mention, and it's not pandering to the Kickstarter going on now, but Not Alone is literally one of the favorite games in my catalog. I think it's one of the best, if not the best, one versus many game that plays up to 7 players, which is just a great player count to have. And it's that like really thematic and creepy theme where like the one player is the creature. He's the malevolent entity on the planet. He's sucking away your will, while the survivors, the hunted, are being hunted by the creature, and they're trying to utilize the powers of the planet to get to the final crash, to the rescue site, and beat the creature there, kind of thing. So it's this pull and push between the creature and the hunted. And of course, on Kickstarter now, if I may, we have Not Alone Sanctuary, the second expansion in that. And literally, those two events are not related. Not Alone is absolutely one of my favorite games in my catalog. It is like 1, 2, 3 with Terraforming Mars.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, what's your question?
Yeah. So, well, I wanted to take things just maybe a little bit deeper than we have.
Oh,
Because
boy.
right now with coronavirus being a thing that's really affecting the industry, a lot of publishers are having to make some difficult decisions. And obviously, with a company like Stronghold, it has had its ups and downs. What I would like to hear from you to our audience maybe is what kept you going during the downs? Like, what did you do to make it all worth it, or to keep going, keep your head up when things
Good
just
question.
didn't look
Good
so
question.
great?
I mean, it is a good because nobody knew how it was going to pan out. Well, when is stores coming back? Are they ever coming back? Is what's going to happen in the industry? And on my podcast, Board Games Insider, we talk all about the industry and how all of these things relate to the industry. We actually do, and a little plug
Tune
there.
in on this state at what time? Plug it.
Every Board Games Insider drops every Wednesday, so you can listen to our new podcast every Wednesday. It's with me and Ignacy Chevicek of Portal Games, and we talk about the industry, the companies, plus questions from our Board Game Geek Guild, as well as we scrape the news and we talk about the news of the industry. But as far as COVID is concerned, it's interesting, and a lot of what has happened during this time frame proves again a lot about the resiliency of this industry. Number one, Stronghold Games is up 10% year over year. And that includes a essentially $0 revenue month from distribution, right? Because all the retailers are closed. Mm-hmm. So the distributors didn't buy. So we got no revenue. Amazon sales are through the roof, right? So the bigger picture is, as of, and I don't have the June sales yet, but I have the May sales. I'm about to get those tomorrow, next day. As of the end of May, Stronghold Games is up 10%. Indie Boards and Cards, flat-ish, maybe a little down, but net, we're up for the year. Number one. Number two, a very interesting stat came out on Tabletop Wire regarding the amount of money raised on Kickstarter during the first half of 2020. The number of projects was slightly lower, and the amount of money raised was substantially higher. And if you remove Frosthaven, which biggest one yet, 13 million, removing that, it was up 30%.
Wow.
With Frosthaven, it was up 46%. So all of this together shows that this industry is an amazing industry, and it is fully recession-proof. This is the biggest, because we've never had an economy that looks like what it did during this dark time. Now we're in, of course, a big upswing. In most of the country, everything is on its way up. Problems here, Florida, and in other places. But overall, the economy is opening back up, and we are seeing great trends in hobby gaming. So we're in good shape. We're in really good shape as an industry, with still issues, but that's mostly due to other things having nothing to do with COVID or economics, like too much product coming out. The industry is up too much flush with product. That's a different type of problem than, oh my God, bad economic times, pandemic going on.
What kind of balance have you tried to strike over the years? There's a lot of publishers who put out a lot of games and sort of take a portfolio approach where they're like, we're going to throw these all out there. Some of them are going to stick. Some of them are not going to. Where do you see yourself in that respect?
Well, we have, over the last couple of years, several years, we have brought out too much product. Full stop. I'm at the forefront of that problem. We brought out too much product. We had a lot of partners. The partners want us to bring out their games. We did. This year specifically, we've pulled back. The partners have understood that too much product's coming out, so they've scaled back. And we have turned down games that, instead of just printing a really small amount, we're going to guys, it's just not for us. I mean, it's just not worth us doing a tiny number of games. It doesn't really serve you better either. So maybe you can find a smaller publisher that in the United States that can help you out, or just bring it out locally in multiple languages. This year, I would say we're probably going to end up with half the number of games in print than the year before, and I believe in 2021, when I'm gone, there's going to even be less games that Stronghold Games will bring out. Indie Boards and Cards has never done a tremendous number. They have scaled up a bit, but they're going to stay at that level or even a slightly lower level. We're going to focus on our core products. I mean, when we can bring out a great product, and I mean it is an amazing product, like Terraforming Mars Big Box. When you can do a game like that, and obviously the gamers wanted it. I love the fact that some people on BGs are like, "Who wants this product?" 24,000 people and $2.8 million says that. I think a lot of people wanted it. When you bring out a product like that, and people just embrace it and love it, and then you can come out with maybe another product in the Terraforming Mars line that people want. You're gonna focus on your look at Kira. What are we gonna do? You're gonna focus on your core competencies, your core IPs, and that's the way to do the best for the company as well as gamers. Not everybody can have a game library that stretches like 30 feet right here. It's just crazy, right? I mean, not everybody can have that. So we have a physical limitation, unlike in if you want to collect movies, you can just we just buy them like on Netflix and things like that, right? You just or Amazon Prime, you just have them and they're virtual and they're just there and just watch them. But you can't keep doing this. So if we concentrate on the core IPs and the core competencies of the company and what we can do to make an individual gamer who's already has some of our products have more of that, I think that's the way that we're going to be able to grow the company and grow the business.
I've got a couple questions from the audience. First up from Earthbat.
All right.
Stephen, can you lick your elbow? Yes.
Well,
can he lick his elbow?
What?
More importantly, can you lick my elbow?
David, I absolutely would lick. I would lick your elbow.
Folks,
and everybody would record it, get disgusted, post it on YouTube.
Just so you know, he ain't kidding.
I know. I've seen
do it.
All right. Robert Purdon asks.
I didn't answer the question. The answer is no. And Paula, by the way, Paula's in the other room laughing. She's laughing over there. So I assume she's listening to this.
So Robert Purdon asks, Stephen, what are your thoughts on your nemesis, Tom Vasel's unhealthy transdimensional alliance with Chief Sokotoa?
Wait, what?
I'm very impressed with myself for saying that without screwing up.
I am impressed too, although I don't understand any of it.
I don't understand it either, but I had to ask because if there is something that we don't know about that has to do with that sentence, I need to know it right now.
Has an unhealthy relationship with Chief Sokotoa? Is that what you said?
Transdimensional alliance, not relationship.
I don't know what it means.
What I want to find out.
Sounds like a code word to me. I want to know more about this.
I'd love to know that this isn't an inside joke and there's actually a transdimensional relationship going on between those two people.
If Tom Vasel has an ally that's from another dimension, that ally is against me too. So so Chief. Oh, I'm against.
Okay. So really, let's just because everybody if you don't know, Stephen has a long-going rivalry with Tom Vasel. Why'd you tell us about how that even started?
Yeah.
It's one of those things that are lost in gaming history, I think. It's kind of weird, odd, but just funny. Yeah. Tom and I met Tom virtually before there was a Stronghold Games. I won one of the Dice Tower contests because I was a fan. I'm a fan of games.
Oh, wow.
So I won or came in second. I got a surprise. And I used to send him questions. I was one of those annoying listeners that constantly sends in let me ask you about this. Let me ask you about this and things like that. And then when I started the company, we just started talking a lot. And then we kind of helped each other out at Origins 2011. It was the first major convention that I did. And I went there and it was a 4-booth island that we had with me, Tom, the guys who did Alien Frontiers, I can't mention, and some some company who like software that never went anywhere. And like we got to like have fun together and stuff. But it's literally like two, silverback gorillas like who come and like see each other like and we have this like we both have to be like better than each other. So we constantly have to have a bigger insult and stuff. So it's an absolute it's a love relationship. It really is. I say, love, hate, joke about it, but we love each other. I was down. I literally went down. I broke quarantine on Monday, and I went down and I played games with Tom and a couple of the Dice Tower folks. He invited me to come down, and like I've been safe, he's been safe. So we said, okay, we can do this. We went down and we played some of the new games that he's got, on the shelf to, for review and stuff like that. And had a great time, and we just love each other. It's a good thing.
That's
nice. Everyone needs a rival to keep pushing them forward. So it's good that you know who yours is.
And he's such an easy punching bag. So it's good.
He's got to get Derek Funkhauser. I'm just gonna keep arguing with him forever.
Now, so this is called a segue because you just mentioned that you played some games. What games have you been playing? I'm actually always curious because sometimes we meet publishers and we're like, hey, have you played this? And obviously, a lot of you guys don't have any time to play. You're playing a lot of new games that people are pitching you and things like that. So you're not like immersed in the new hotness.
Well,
did you get to play any of the new hotness?
Well, got this delivered over here from Target.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So Jaws of the Lion, who's sitting on my floor, literally like right next to me. And I got I have a Gloomhaven campaign. So I'm sitting, this is my game table. I put the half of the topper on the game table for my computer and my wine. And right underneath that is Gloomhaven. Nice. Gloomhaven is set up underneath the table. So Paula, my girlfriend Paula, and I have been immersed in we're about 9 scenarios in or something like that in a campaign. So we're really, really digging that. And other gaming, I've also started a Pathfinder campaign. I haven't done role-playing in like 8 years. And I lost the group. Before I moved to New Jersey, I lost the group. But now that same group, we've gotten back together to play Pathfinder First Edition campaign, and I'm really excited because I love role playing. I've never played Pathfinder. I'm a D&D player, but they're very, very, very similar.
Yeah.
And it's been great. We're about in like the fifth session, but the way that we play sessions, this is going to go on for 5 years at least.
Nice. Well, so if you can't tell at home, this is the time when we talk about what we've been playing, and that's the perfect segue because Stephen, I have never played D&D except when I was a little kid, and I've mentioned this before. I don't think I played by the real rules when I was a little kid. We just kind of like rolled dice and thought we were playing D&D,
sure.
But I've not played since then, and within the last month and a half, I decided not only to play, but I'm DMing a campaign of D&D with Rob and Patrick from Blue Peg, Pink Peg, and Marty and Tony just joined the group from Rolling Dice Taking Names. We're about 3 sessions in, and I will say, it is. Have you ever DM'd? Have you ever GM'd a game?
Not in so long that it was like in high school, I think was the last time I actually DM'd. It's really hard, man.
It's a lot of pressure. I am a people pleaser. Like when I play any board game, my number one goal is not to win. It's to make sure everyone at the table is like, oh, dude, that was a fun game. Thanks.
Sure.
So DMing is like the ultimate pressure to like, did you like it? Was it fun? Did I do right? It's been a blast. At the same time, I feel anxious every time Wednesday comes around.
Are you creating your own?
I am not.
Okay.
But I am trying. So I'm using the starter set campaign, the Lost Mines of Fendelver.
And you doing 5th edition?
5th edition.
Fifth edition for sure. And we were going to do Theater of the Mind, but I have kind of like crazy enough, I've used Photoshop to like, we do it over Zoom, Discord, and I share like a map that has all these layers, and I turn on the monsters and move them around and everything like that. It's a little crazy, but It's been pretty fun. We've had a lot of good times, a lot of really good moments so far. But it's been an experience for sure.
So we use Zoom to see everybody and to role play, and I insist on role playing because that to me, I mean, yeah, combat's great, and D&D of course and Pathfinder's a combat based system. But I insist on the role playing. That's important to me to have the times when I can just talk as my character. And we use Roll20.com.
Roll20.
Yeah,
I've considered that.
Tool.
It's pretty simple from the player's perspective once you get used to it. And the DM has got to like put the maps up. He's got to put the layers on. And so it's a little bit. So one of the guys who's a player is really familiar with it. And he keeps saying, Chad, click on that and click on that to make sure he puts the layers on correct. So there's a little bit of
nice.
But it's really, we're digging it. I mean, I'm digging it, and Paul is playing in the campaign too. And I'm getting a chance to hang out again with my New Jersey friends. So it's just great. Do the rest of you guys play role playing games, Ryan?
Ryan. That's where I got my start was designing and writing role playing games. So yeah, I've played every system under the sun.
Ryan has his own RPG that was kickstarted successfully.
I published my own. Yeah. I've written for countless others.
Defiance.
I mean, that's right. Gears of Defiance is my most recent one. I had Adara, which was a big hit on Drive-Thru RPG a couple years ago. So yeah, I love role playing games. I will always be down to play. Granted, lately with 1.5-year-old at home, it's hard to make a commitment of like once per week or even once every other week to do that. So it's waned, but man, nothing will really replace that feeling. And just really quick, David, I like to hear you say that you want to be a DM that facilitates a good experience. Some DMs like to win, and by win I mean kill all of the players.
Oh, that's crazy.
I can't even fathom why anyone would want to DM and do that. I certainly don't know.
Popular. It's a very popular style. The whole DM versus the player style of gaming, where it's like, man, if you don't get one player killed, then you're not doing it right.
No,
that's not how I play. But
if anything, my players don't have anything to worry about. That's the only thing I worry about is them thinking like, oh, we're never gonna die. So.
That concept makes no sense to me. I mean, first of all, you want a good experience for all the players, sort of number one. And number two, a DM could, of course, always kill the players. Just bring out an ancient red dragon. Oh, you're all dead. I mean, it's like what?
Campaign over. Everybody go home.
You are God, right? I always say like the DM is God, and if God wants to kill you, God could kill you. You just don't do that. You just make a good, challenging experience. You have social challenges, you have moral challenges, you have all kinds of intellectual challenges. You don't want to kill the players.
Okay, so before we get off of D&D, and Kira, I promise we'll get off of D&D here in a second.
Kira, you don't play?
I don't
play?
I want to share this story. I told Ryan I was going to share this with him later, but I'm going to call Rob Rouse out right here on Chit Chat. So before our session, it is a Rob story. Before our session started last night, he texted me privately and said, hey, I don't think any of the other guys are writing anything down, like the gold and everything they've collected. And Rob had been doing that. And I think that he was feeling a little bitter that he was the only one doing it. So he said, we found this jade frog with gold orbs for eyes. I'm thinking I might not tell the guys about that, and I might just pocket it myself.
There's one in every party.
And what I said to him is I was like, if you want to role play that, you go right ahead. So sure enough, last night in the session, it came up where someone said, hey, should we have one person hold all of our stuff and we'll just split all the money, or should we divvy it up? And Rob said, well, here's what we have. And he listed everything that they had except the jade frog. And I took that opportunity as a DM to let him privately roll a persuasion check. And then I had everyone else roll a perception check against that persuasion to see if they thought maybe he wasn't being completely forthcoming. And they caught him in the lie, which was an absolute fantastic situation. It was literally the best part of the entire session, in my opinion. I think it'll be one of the more memorable elements. And he wasn't too bitter about it, but it was a hilarious situation.
That's beautiful. I love it. Is he a thief? What's he playing?
He's not a thief. He's a bard. He's a bard that was used to be a fighter,
bard.
but he gave up the life of fighting because he wanted to become a musician.
No,
Bards
that makes sense.
are partly rogues. They're rogue, fighter, magic user things. Yeah, that's fine.
Since he was a fighter, he's probably not a great bard. A couple broken noses, maybe
No,
his jaw doesn't work right.
He's an awful bard. We have
really,
a lot of awful
probably
people.
Needs the money.
Anyway, done with D&E. What else has anyone been playing? Kira or Ryan?
Nothing. I've been on vacation. We flew, so I didn't really get to. I probably could have thrown a couple small games, but we're here to visit my brand new nephew who is 3 weeks old, and we have an 18-month-year-old. So we knew that the chance for board games was going to be almost non-existent. So I didn't even really bother bringing anything. I just brought my Switch, and I've been playing Pokemon like crazy. So there we go. Off of Animal Crossing, onto Pokemon. I'm probably going to download that Raiders of the North Sea app on my Switch, which everyone's been raving about, because I've been craving some board games while I'm down here.
Kira, what about you?
Well, so the last 2 games I played with you, David, and Jeremy.
Yeah.
Is there one of the 2 you'd rather talk about? I'll talk about the other one.
Oh no, go ahead. You can talk about Fort or whatever you want.
Sure. I'll talk about Fort since you said that one, and I'll let you talk about the other one. Just so it's not so this isn't a surprise or whatever. So Fort is Leader Games. It's got that same art style as Root.
Yeah.
And it's not in the same. I don't even know if it's in the same universe or not. It's just its own game.
It's absolutely not.
The components are incredible, and I had posted some pictures of them on Instagram if you're interested. I've got some up on the screen now as well. But the player boards alone were so freaking fancy, super cool. And it's a really interesting game, and there will be a review coming soon for this, I'm pretty sure, from Jeremy. But it was very unique. So you have these cards, and they have a top ability and a bottom ability. And the bottom ability is just for you. And the top ability, if you play that card, everybody is going to get an opportunity to play or to access that same action if they have a matching icon of the card that you play. And I've got those up on the screen now for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. So the interesting thing about this is you have to be able to do the action fully. And that means if it's like I can hold only so many things in my pack, but if I do this action, it's going to give me one more than I can hold. You can't do that action. And so in order to be able to do an action not fully, you have to be able to do at least one of the 2 actions fully. So you have to be really careful about which card you're playing, which card you're storing. And then when you're done, it's a weird deck builder because you're only playing 1 card to pay for stuff. Whereas normally you're using multiple cards. The cards that you don't play from your hand go to your yard. And they become
this is the cool part.
Yeah, they become accessible to whoever you're playing against. And so because at the end of your turn, what you get to do is you get to draw a card from, I can't remember what it's called, but the common area or from someone else's yard. And then if nobody draws, by the time it gets back to you, those go to your discard pile and they stay with you. But you could potentially lose some of your cards if you choose not to play them. And I found that really, really interesting. It was a neat game. Not really my kind of game, but it was a neat game.
Yeah, it has some cool mechanics. That mechanic that Kira just touched on, and we will have some content up on the channel very soon on this. You're playing maybe 1, and then you can play another card to enhance that. But a lot of cards in your hand, and you have a card typically of 5 cards, or a hand of 5 cards, you're putting out in your yard. And those cards are up for grabs between your end of your turn and the beginning of your next turn. So you might not get those cards back. So you are building a deck, but at the same time, everyone is picking and choosing cards from each other that might serve their purpose for their upcoming turn. And Kira, I will mention to you, Jeremy and I talked today, and we did clarify there was a couple things we got wrong.
I had a feeling.
So two of the things that I think probably had the most problem with in that game, we were wrong about. So I think
so I need to play it again then.
You definitely need to play again because it clarifies. There's not as much limitation, but it is a limiting game. So Kira said you manage your resources, but you're not only managing your resources, but you have a very strict limit on how many resources you can hold. So it's very challenging in that way. So the other game that we played, Kira and Jeremy and I just, yesterday,
Yep.
Kira?
Yep.
Was Court of the Dead Dark Harvest. This is more of a small box game in the Court of the Dead universe. This is from Skybound this time, but it's in that Sideshow Collections universe of Court of the Dead. And this is a bidding game. When we first heard about this game, for some reason I was under the impression that it was kind of like a hidden trader game, but it is a bidding game where you have these three sort of factions out on the board with these powerful cards, and everyone is putting some influence out and one of the faction tokens, revealing, and if you have the most influence for a particular faction, you get to resolve that card, and then you get a favor card for that. It's literally all you're doing. You do that, and then there's another phase of each round where you're all having to contribute souls, which are literally the victory points in the game. So you don't want to contribute too many souls because you're giving up points, but at the same time, if the group as a whole, and this is not a co-op game, as the group as a whole, though, if they don't contribute enough souls to fulfill the offering card or whatever it's called, I can't remember, that comes up, then you fail, and whoever contributed the least souls in that circumstance suffers some sort of significant penalty. So you're always kind of considering, do I want to contribute a lot of souls? Do I even care if we succeed here? Or if we fail, as long as we fail and I've contributed more souls than that person over there, then I'm fine. It's a really quick, I would say it's, would you say filler plus, Kira?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe filler, maybe a little thinking going on, but it's a really interesting guessing game, and you get into each other's heads. I think it plays like 3 to 6 players. I don't know if we're going to have a review, but we are going to have some content and reveal more of that game here in the very, very near future.
So
Sounds very cool. How long does it play?
Oh, the Court of the Dead one is like maybe 20, 30 minutes, depending on player count. But even player count, I don't think it's one of those games where no matter what the player count is, everyone's putting their hand in at the same time, so it kind of resolves.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's fun, and the artwork is beautiful. If you've ever seen the Sideshow's collectible universe of Court of the Dead, it is really dark and disturbing, but is also incredibly gorgeous at the same time.
Okay.
Steven, anything else you've been playing?
No, between Pathfinder, Gloomhaven, it's taken up most of my time.
All the wine classes.
All the wine classes. It's look, no more wine.
Oh,
Wait,
no.
Paula's not refilled your wine? Is she cut?
No.
Oh no! So Paula is in the comments along with Alicia, and they are
I can just
both
imagine.
encouraging, and I cannot believe I am going to encourage this as well. They are encouraging that David and Steven sign out with a duet tonight.
With a duet? Steven, do you sing?
He does. We were on a pan.
Oh, boy.
We did a speaking event together at Metatopia, and I have the whole thing on video.
Oh, that's right.
Oh man, you know what? I don't want to unless Steven, you want to take it away, and I'll try to jump in. I have nothing prepared, and if I haven't prepared a song,
A duet specifically means it's got to be 2 parts to it too.
Right, exactly.
So
I want some Sonny and Cher.
I was gonna go with Elton John and Kiki D. You know, Don't Go Breaking My Heart, maybe.
That's
you
a
know
good
what?
one.
I'll sing a couple bars that Don't Go Breaking My Heart. You take it away.
You do the Kiki D part. Is that okay?
I am not sure. I know the song, but I don't know the parts, so I'll do my best.
Don't go breaking my heart.
Do it, David.
I sang the Don't Go Breaking My Heart part.
That's the Elton
Go
John
ahead.
part.
Then that's the Elton John. Go ahead. You go first.
All right. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Go ahead.
In all the
happy hour.
He knocked his mic over, I think.
I'm so excited I've knocked my mic over. Okay, I'll start.
Go ahead.
This is all you're going to get, folks.
Wow.
1, 2, 3, 4. Don't go breaking my heart.
I wouldn't if I tried.
That's all I got, folks. I don't know the rest of the
Come on.
words.
Oh, honey, if I get restless, baby, you're not that kind.
Dun, 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 dun.
There you
All
go.
right, that's it. That's all you're going to get.
I'm out.
You are so lucky I drank a beer at the beginning of this episode.
This is what happens when Buonocore is on Chit Chat.
Yeah, this is definitely one. You know what? We might have you as a regular, Steven.
I'm here. I'm here for you. I'm retired now. Make me one of the chairs in this thing.
Excellent.
Get rid of Salinas. I'll replace Salinas. I got it.
Done.
Oh my goodness. Well, guys, I
my
think with
goodness.
that, just a reminder that if you're watching this, our game to give away, thanks to Steven and Stronghold Games, is Divvy Dice. So make sure that you comment live or in the replay comments after the stream is over, and you'll be entered to win. David.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. And once again, Steven, I just want to say, I know we've had a lot of fun. We've poked a lot of fun. But I just want to say once again, and I think everyone will probably reiterate this as well, thank you so much, not only for doing Chit Chat tonight, but for everything you've done for the industry.
Thank you.
You are genuinely one of the best parts of what anyone can expect from going to a convention. And I know we haven't gone to a lot of conventions this year, but I can tell you there's a lot of people, and I'm being very serious, my friend. When you come to the Stronghold booth, you know that it's going to be a positive experience, and it's just so much fun to see you every time. So I hope to see you at those future conventions still, even though you're not, quote unquote, running Stronghold games.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Kira. Thank you, Ryan. Even thank you, Jeremy, who's not here.
He was in the comments.
I really. Why couldn't he be here then? I can't. No, never mind. I'd rather have Ryan anyway. Aww. It's okay.
Oh.
No, thank you for all those kind words. They're really nice. And I 100%, you will see me at all the 2021 major shows. It's a guarantee, assuming they run. But as always, I am the most optimistic person, and I really believe that we're going to be back to a certain amount of normalcy next year. Yeah. And I will see all of you at those conventions next year. So
awesome.
Find me. I might not be wearing red, but find me. Just listen for the loud New York type. You'll find me.
He's going to be wearing red. He's going to be wearing Man vs. Meeple blue. Everybody.
Maybe I will.
So with that, again, thank you very much for joining us tonight, Steven, for Chit Chat. I'm glad that we were able to have you on tonight, and thanks everyone for watching. Until next time, keep gaming.
Stay safe, everybody.
Bye.